There you go. Simple present versus present continuous. That's gonna be what we're gonna be talking about today. Okay, simple present versus present continuous. So I'm going to explain briefly each one of them because we saw them. So this is just like kind of a review and the differences between them in use and in structure. And we are also going to see some, let me see if I'm not wrong. Go, 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 go. Go, 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 go. Some quantifiers, okay? Some quantifiers. But the quantifiers are gonna be in another video, not on this video, okay? So let's work with simple present versus present continuous. So first, to understand what they are, to understand the difference, first we need to understand what they are. And they are tenses. You might be wondering, teacher, what is a tense? Well, guys, a tense is a grammatical time. A tense is a grammatical time. A tense is what we use when we want to speak in different times. In future, in the past, in the present, okay? So we have different tenses depending on the situation that we want to express, because we can express different tenses. And we can express those tenses with different ideas. For example, when I give you an exercise, I said, complete this exercise now. And you have 10 minutes, for example. Complete this exercise now, you have 10 minutes. I give you that command, that order. Complete this exercise now, you have 10 minutes. So within 8 minutes, I ask you the question, guys, have you finished? So this is another tense. It's a different tense. We have like 13 tenses in English. I think it is 13, 14. I don't remember very well, but it's around 13 or 14. So that is a tense. And not only that it is a tense, it also implies an idea. Guys, have you finished? So I am not asking you if you did it at a specific time. I am asking you if you finished at any moment in the past. Have you finished? Okay, so because I don't know when you finish, if you finished. So I am asking you, have you finished? Because I'm not sure if you did it or not. So I just ask you that question. If I say, did you finish? It's different. For me to say, did you finish? I need to, well, we need to have a time, a specific time both. But you're going to see that later on, don't worry. So these are different tenses that we have. So, being that in mind, with that in mind, as someone wrote in the chat, let me see. Don't worry, Priscilla, about the page, okay? That's unit 5, we're in unit 5. So, unit 5. So keeping this in mind, simple present versus present continuous. They are tenses, we said. What are tenses? Grammatical times, in case you forget. There are two, so grammatical times. So let's start with the simple present. And since this is a brief explanation of them, I'm going to be very brief. So simple present is the first one. Now let's understand the differences between them. When we talk about simple present, we talk about habits, repeated actions, daily routines. Okay, always remember these phrases, okay? When we talk about simple present, we talk about habits, repeated actions, and daily routines. What do they have in common? All of them are repeated actions. That's it. All of them have repeated actions. They are repeated actions. All of them. So they mean, they want to say, they want to express activities that we do regularly, okay? Activities we do regularly. They express activities we do regularly. That's what simple present expresses, okay? Simple present expresses activities we do regularly. Regularly, okay? Repeated actions, daily routines, habits. So that is how we do it. So, what is the structure of the simple present? The structure is gonna be depending on the type of sentence. If it's affirmative, so it's gonna be subject or noun plus the verb. Well, the base form of the verb. Okay? If it's in negative, then it's subject or noun. Guys, microphone again. So, this, if it's negative, is subject plus do not. Well, I'm going to put the contraction because I'm going to assume that you know what I'm talking about, okay? I mean, you understand the contractions. Do not, does not. Don't, doesn't. Doesn't plus the base form of the verb. Now we got questions. But we have two types of questions. We have yes, no questions. Yes or no questions. What is the grammar? Do, does, subject, verb. Again, base form of the verb, but I'm going to simplify it like that because I need a space, okay? It's the base form of the verb. But I'm going to simplify it because I need a space. And we have also, WH questions. In the WH questions, we have the WH word plus do or does plus the subject. Let me give you some examples, each one next to it, like under it. Yeah, you got it, please. For example, I dance, you swim, they run. Here, I don't know, she doesn't sing at all. Yes or no question? Do you eat cornflakes for breakfast? These are gonna be our examples. Okay, so I dance, you swim, they run. I don't know, she doesn't sing at all. Negative, yes or no questions. Do you eat cornflakes for breakfast? And WH questions. WH word, does plus subject plus verb. What do you do? Oh, in this case is different. When do you go to school? So what do you do? When do you go to school? If you notice, is the WH word. Okay, do or does, the auxiliary, do or does, the subject, and the verb. Okay, WH word, the auxiliary, the subject, and the verb. And of course, the complement, if you have it. Okay, so this is the simple present versus the present continuous. Present continuous. The present continuous is different in use and in structure. Okay, so you can never confuse them. You should never confuse them. Okay? Never. So first, let's see the use. We use the present continuous for actions happening now. or for temporary situations. Okay, actions happening now or for temporary situations. This is hot, guys, hot, very hot. Give me a second. Just a second. So, for actions happening now, for temporary situations. What are temporary situations? Let me express it like actions happening around the time of speaking. Actions happening around the time of speaking. So we got these two. You see the difference? Here we have habits, repeated actions, daily routines, activities we do regularly. We have permanent states also, permanent states. But here we have actions happening now, right now, and actions happening around the time of speaking. So we have these two. Do you notice the difference? This is not for actions. This is not for actions that are happening regularly. This is for actions that are happening now, right now, at the moment of speaking. For example, we are having classes. You are listening to the teacher. My God. What is the problem? Okay. You are listening to the teacher. Okay, we are having classes. You are listening to the teacher. Now, this is right now. Now. Okay? Or you can say, for example, we are having classes on Zoom lately. So this is happening around the time of speaking. Why? Because maybe last Friday we had classes on Zoom. Today we have classes on Zoom. Tomorrow, no. Well, on Wednesday we're going to have classes on Zoom again. So that is an activity, an action that is happening around the time of speaking. Okay, around the time of speaking. So how can we see that then to understand it better? Let me erase this example and get it there. When I say around a time of speaking, let's figure this is a timeline. This is a timeline, okay? So we are here in the present. We are speaking here. This is us, the class now. But what happened? There is an activity that started a long time ago. Okay? What is that activity? Classes on Zoom. Well, let's call it online classes. Since coronavirus affected the English immersion program, well, actually the whole world, most of it, we are taking online classes, okay? So we can say we are taking online classes these days. These days. We're taking online classes these days. So what happened? Later, you might be in your house doing something else, watching a movie, completing a homework, cleaning your house, doing your bedroom. You can be doing something different. But this activity over here will be happening around the time of speaking. Why? Because it continues happening. Tomorrow you're going to have classes. The day after tomorrow you're going to have classes, and so on. So that's what we are talking about when we say actions happening around the time of speaking. We are here. We are speaking here, okay? But there is an action that is happening here also. What is the action? We are taking online classes these days, okay? This is an action happening around the time of speaking. So we can use present continuous for those things. For the action here, what is the action here? We are taking classes. We are taking classes now. We're taking online classes now. Let's say number 2. And let's call this number 1. So this is gonna be number 1. And this is gonna be number 2. Okay? So that is how you're supposed to see it. For actions happening now and actions happening around the time of speaking. They are usually temporary, guys, okay? They are usually temporary. It's not something that is forever, it's temporary. Because the English immersion program is supposed to finish by the end of this year, okay? By the end of this year. So we're talking about a temporary situation. That's why I put it at the beginning. Temporary situations, remember that. Okay? So what is the structure of the present continuous? And I'm sorry, but I need to erase this. You can take a picture. Well, it's gonna be on the video anyway, so you can take a picture from the video. Could have used that. Anyway, structure. What is the structure of the present continuous? Well, in the affirmative, so you can compare and put it next to it. In the affirmative, we have the subject plus the verb to be plus the present participle. Teacher, what is that? What is present participle? Ha. The present participle, let me put it here. The present participle is the verb plus ing. That's what we call verb plus ing. That is the name, the real name is present participle. Okay, that is the real name of it. Present participle is what we call, what you say commonly, verb plus ing. Okay, so remember that. That is the name, present participle. Present participle. See if I can select this. Okay. So the affirmative is subject plus verb be plus present participle. You see? Very simple. I am running. You see the difference? Well, let me put the example similar to the other one so you can relate more. Dancing. You are swimming. They are running. So there you can relate better. Next one, it's negative. We are cooking. Exactly, Joel. Very good. Very good. The next one is the negative. In the negative, we have subject. Subject. There you go. Plus verb be plus not. Okay. Plus present participle. I'm gonna put it like there because I need the space. Plus present, well, I think you have space. Yes, present participle. So that's a negative form. What is it? Well, I cannot use the other one, so let me use I am not dancing. I am not dancing. You are not swimming. Okay. You aren't running. Exactly. We are not cooking. Very good. Very good. You got it. So when I say you're not, you can use also the contraction of it. Okay. When I say you're not, you can also use the contraction. Remember that. When I say verb to be plus not, you can use the contraction. That goes without saying that. You are not swimming, I am not dancing, etc., etc. That is present continuous. Keep that in mind. And in questions, as you know, we have two different types of questions. We have yes or no questions, and we have the WH questions. So the yes or no questions go like this. Verb be, subject, present. Let's call it PP for now, okay? That's present participle, but I need the space. So present participle, okay? So verb be, subject, present participle. So how is that? Are you cooking? Are you cooking? Are you sleeping? Very good. So let's put, is she sleeping? Is she sleeping? Are you cooking? Those are yes or no questions. Are you dancing? Are you listening? Exactly. Are you listening, guys? Are you listening to me? So those are yes or no questions. And WH questions. And we got the WH questions that are different. There, I can say, we have the WH word and the other structure that we have here. The same structure. We just copy. Let me put this here. Copy and paste. You see? Exactly the same. And obviously, since it's a question, we need to use the question mark. So how it goes? What are you doing? What are you doing? Okay. What are you doing? And why are you singing? Why are you singing? What are you doing? Why are you singing? It's another question, like, are you happy? What are you eating? So we have the WH word, we have the verb be, We have the subject, and we have the present participle of the verb that we are using, the present participle, which is singing. So folks, that's all for today. I'm gonna be sending the exercises to the group. So keep me posted if you have any questions or anything, you can ask in the group, remember that. And that's pretty much it. Thank you for listening.